I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good night, Allan Neil. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
Awesome. Doing well. Great to speak with you, Engel.
Yeah, great to speak with you as well. Well, Alan, I will let you know my wife decided that if I allow anyone to call me Engel, that she would come after them, right? So
Uh-oh.
I'll help you. It's Angel. You're safe now. She definitely wouldn't.
Angel.
Yeah, she wouldn't attack anymore. You're good now.
Okay. Apologies.
It's okay.
Angel.
It's okay. It's Juman, so Engel. You're good. You're good either way with me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's her I'm worried about, so I'll definitely save you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's start from the beginning. We have time. Good night, Allan Neil. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing wonderful, Angel. How are you?
I am excellent, my friend. Great pleasure to connect with you. What part of the world are you in right now, Alan?
I'm in a little town called Whitby, which is about 45 minutes east of Toronto. And yeah, it's fall here, getting starting to get cold. Rushing to get the leaves all raked up before the first snow comes. So
Wow,
yes.
wow. And which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
Yeah, not too sure about that. I've been watching what you've been doing, and I applaud this project you've got going on. As a podcaster myself, I know the effort that goes into a project like this. So well done.
Yeah, I think you definitely nailed it right there. The podcast, right? That is
That's
definitely the
right.
thing that's responsible for us connecting at this time. Do tell us about your podcast, please.
Yeah. So podcast is called Ready Product Radio. And I'm in kind of my second year of doing that. I basically try to follow the school year, and yeah, I've been doing enterprise software product management for about the past 20 years. So, had been giving back by, helping lead a local association called the Toronto Product Management Association for about 10 years. And, I decided to hand over the reins of that. And I thought, well, what's a way that I can continue to give back to the community, but maybe at an even bigger scale? So I thought, well, podcasting seemed to be resurging, and having a renewed popularity thanks to Serial and some of the others. So I said, let's give this a try, and it's been really fun. But it is a lot of work to do. Even a weekly podcast, I found. So to do the number of discussions you're doing, I definitely applaud the effort, because yeah, that's a lot of work. But I really enjoy it, and I'm sure you do as well.
I do. So, who did you learn the podcasting from?
I self-taught, to be
Okay.
honest with you. I've been following and listening to uh, probably the where I got into it was Leo Laporte and his Twit network.
Mm.
So I've been following him for many years, and I listen to, as perhaps you do, podcasts about podcasting. So I learned it's kind of a meta thing, right? I learned how to podcast by listening to podcasts about podcasting. So that's probably where I've learned most of my skills.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The number of people that have said that they listen to podcasts and then they said, and I think it's because of the podcast hosts. Like the podcast hosts are always saying, "Hey, you need to do a podcast. You can do it too. You should do this, right? It's so much fun." And
Exactly.
yeah, most definitely it does inspire others. Let's talk about something that has me going for a while now, which is the background image on your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
There's something there, and I'm seeing the word Zoom on it. What is it exactly?
Yeah, good eye for detail there. So what that is most of my podcast recording equipment is Zoom. So what you're seeing there is the Zoom H6
Hmm.
portable recorder. So basically, what I've tried to do with my podcast is I try to actually meet face to face with my guests in their office, and so that's the workhorse that you're seeing there. It's
Sweet.
a Zoom H6, and basically allows me to go out, meet my guests face to face. I've got two high LPR 40 microphones that
Sweet.
I can run directly into that. It takes like less than 5 minutes to set up, and I can get decent quality. And I'm sure as investing in some good equipment really pays off in terms of saving you hours and hours of editing. So, yeah, that image that you see there has been a lifesaver because it allows me to have a very portable but high quality recording that I can get in the field. And that combined with my two high LPR 40 microphones means I don't have to do a lot of editing afterwards to change the quality because I get a good quality right from the get go.
Yeah, most definitely. So this is opened wide, is it? Is that the internals of it, or is that how it looks from the external?
No, that's the external.
Oh,
That's an
really?
external image of it.
It's probably the
But
angle it's taken from. It looks,
yeah,
yeah, it looks like something from outer space, actually.
yeah, I tried to get a creative image, but it's about if I was to think about something, it's about probably the size of let's say two, those boxes that watches come in. It's probably about the size of like two watch boxes
Okay.
end to end, if that makes
Yeah,
sense
it's
to
like
you.
an electrical tester, right? The size of an
Yeah,
electrical
exactly.
tester. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a better example.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's exactly that
I've
size.
seen them, but again, your creative side really stuck out here. The way you took this picture, right?
That's great.
That's great. Well, tell me one other thing, Alan, that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Yeah, so over the last 3 years, one of the things that I've been trying to do, and it's a lifelong project, I imagine, is learning to play the clarinet. And again, what I'm doing there is I'm kind of self-teaching. Every once in a while I'll pay for a lesson, but basically working off of YouTube videos and books, and that's just a hobby I find that helps relax me. The focus that it takes to learn something new,
Hmm.
you know, I find really helps take my mind off work and the pressures of whatever else is going on in my life. So that's kind of another hobby like the podcasting that I find is a good counterbalance to my my daily commitments.
Yeah, suggest to someone that's listening why they do that. Have that balance, that counterbalance to the daily grind of what life could be.
Yeah, exactly. And what I just found was, you especially doing product management, which has been the focus of my career, can be very high pressure. And there's other pressures as well. My kids both just came through their teenage years, so they're young adults now. But when they're teenagers, there's a lot of pressure, and I think it's important to
Mm.
find something that A is for yourself, and B that is completely different from those day to day pressures, and something that is creative as well. As you're probably sensing a theme,
Mm.
I like to do creative things. So yeah, that's what that's all about.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, amazing audience. We are live with Allan Neil. Again, you can definitely check out him at his podcast, Ready Product Radio. Amazing stuff going on there. Alan, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm blue Caribbean water. Alan,
Yeah.
what is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow. I got caught up in the Caribbean water there. Yeah, good question. I would say my earliest child memory is probably playing. My family used to have it's probably not very politically correct now, but used to have a skin of an animal. I think it was a lion or a tiger of some kind in our living room when I was a young child, and probably my earliest memory is my father watching the hockey game, and me lying on that fur rug basically listening to my listening to my father scream at the hockey game. Somehow he thought that if he could yell at his team loud enough, they would hear him and make the correct moves. But yeah, that's probably one of my earliest memories, and very very comfortable, very warm. Kind of remember lying on a skin rug, listening to my father scream at the Montreal Canadian hockey team.
How old do you think you were?
I'm gonna guess I was probably around 3. Yeah, I'm gonna guess probably around 3. Yeah.
If you had to connect the dots of that memory to who you are now, what would you say it is?
Yeah, good question. I would say that definitely perhaps that experience scared me off of playing hockey because I never played hockey. I was never good at that. And yeah, that's probably the main one. A lot of my young years, I remember being by myself, and I think that's where maybe a lot of my creativity comes from. Having to kind of entertain myself and kind of being caught up in my own thoughts and whatnot. So that's probably the connection that I would draw there is always been good at entertaining myself, and I still am, to this day. So that can be a blessing and a curse, but I try to take advantage of the blessing and minimize the curse, so to speak, right?
I love it. I love it. Definitely love it. Love how you did that. All right, Allan. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
My favorite song when I was 12. I am going to. I'm gonna think about that one a little bit. I'm gonna have to say probably the band, and I'm not gonna pick a particular song,
Right.
but I'm gonna pick the band Chicago.
Okay.
And what I really fell in love with Chicago was the heavy use of horns and the orchestration. And in later years, I appreciated that same thing. For example, getting into things like Steely Dan and whatnot. But yeah, I'm going to probably say and to narrow it down to an album, probably kind of best of Chicago kind of thing. Around that time frame
Right.
was probably my favorite music. I really enjoyed the horns and the orchestration. Yeah.
Well, Allan, my friend, we have arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there is a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Allan?
Let's go.
Allan, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I certainly have. I've chosen several people. I passing off a lot of my home skills and my how to live skills to my son, and to a lesser extent my daughter. So I've definitely got that in place. And then from a product management perspective, mentoring is huge for me. So I typically at any point in time mentor anywhere from between 1 and 3 aspiring product managers. So, for example, I'm working with a very new product manager right now. She's in her second product management job, and having a lot of great time, being a coach and an ear and give a bit of advice here and there. So yeah, definitely love mentoring, and that's how I pass on my knowledge to the next generation, so to speak.
Are you married?
I am married, yes.
And you spoke of your children. How many children do you have?
Yeah, so I'm going to age myself here a little bit, but I've got a daughter who's 21
Wow.
and a son who's 19. Yeah,
All right. All right. Do you believe in God?
I do, yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do, yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
This is starting to sound like a survey, but no, I don't. I probably watch about an hour per day, I would say.
Yeah. Well, what about we're on the time machine? There's a declaration form. Yeah, it's like the survey. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What about screen time? The phone and or the computer. Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Well, definitely with my work, it's going to be more than 8 for sure. Yeah, definitely more than.
Allan, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, what would you say that is?
Statement of who I am. That's a good one. So I would say I am an artist who accidentally fell into a career in computing.
I love it. That's cool. Allan, this has been a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I would again just like to say, Angel, that it's fascinating what you're doing here, and I really applaud you. Good luck. I watch every day on LinkedIn. You update with the picture of the notepad list, and I'm rooting for you here in here in cold Toronto. That you successfully complete your mission. So well done, sir.
I appreciate that. Allan Neil, this has been a great pleasure. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Awesome.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.